Like, I used my Secret to his Embrace, which is, by the way, something I should probably use right now for that sick value.
ピンポーン。ゆっくりしていってね。
What is up, YouTube? How's it crawling? I'm YukkuriChei, and welcome to the new video series I'm going to start right now and hopefully finish in a few days. I've made an agreement with myself that I'm just going to record it and upload it as is, even though it's going to be worse than 12-year-old kids playing Minecraft. I just hope my throat is not going to fail on me, and this series is going to be watchable. So, the series itself is going to be... That's way too much going to be for so few sentences, but it's going to be about a character clearing the 14th Mega-Ziggurat. As you can see here, I have a whole lot of Ziggurat arcs, and this character is, an Uber character, which has all its skills at 27, and I also have a lot of spells, a lot of level 9 spells to be exact, all of them besides Dragon's Call and Shatter, because I think I don't need Dragon's Call or Shatter on this one. And, well, let's just talk about what Ziggurats are to begin with, shall we? So, Ziggurats are, represented by these arcs once you complete them, but... Oh, the game is lagging a little bit. Yeah, but once you open them, they are represented by this type of arc. And what a Ziggurat is basically a dungeon branch, which you usually do after you have finished everything else in the game. And it is 27 floors deep, and it starts out pretty tame, but each consecutive floor is harder than the previous one, and on your first Ziggurat, the very first floor is going to be just one enemy and a couple items, but the last one is going to have a few dozen enemies, and enemies could be of different themes, like for example enemies from Lair with some elephants, enemies from the swamp with some Quicksilver dragons, or enemies from Pandemonium with a lot of Panlords and Apocalypse crabs shooting at you. Actually, I think those type of floors are called Chaos floors. But yeah, this branch has a lot of loot and a lot of monsters, and it's basically the ultimate challenge of crawl. Basically the game mode, the premise of which is you have completed the game, but let's see how long you can last against a never-ending wave of enemies. Okay. And the reason why, I want to clear Ziggurat number 14 is that in 0.16, developers have changed Ziggurats a little bit, and now every consecutive Ziggurat is harder than the previous one. So, remember, I told you some things about the very first Ziggurat, which greets you with only one enemy, and when I enter this one, it's going to have a lot more. I'm probably going to get surrounded instantly. And also, as you can see, I have more arcs than 14 here. If you can count, like, these are 14 arcs, and this is the 15th one. But I have not completed all of these Ziggurats. You can only obtain Ziggurat figurines by taking this arc, which always exists in depths, or using a Ziggurat figurine, which you either find at the bottom of Tomb or at the bottom of a Ziggurat. And as you can see, I don't have any figurines left. So you could deduce that I didn't finish one of those Ziggurats. I've actually met a lot of spiders, and they corroded me and drained a lot of my mana, and I didn't have a counter for that. But I do have a counter now. It's called Invisibility. By the way, let's take a look at my loot as well. My equipment, my inventory in general. Like, I'm using the Staff of Air for general combat because I want that max power tornado. I'm using Staff of Wooked for channeling. I have a lot of extra tools which are basically for the occasion of getting silenced. There are silence floors. They are very dangerous. Also a ring with resist corrosion. A ring of sustainabilities. Sustainabilities is for mummy floors. And a bunch of other stuff. I also have potions of beneficial mutation, which I should actually drop. I don't want them in the Ziggurat itself. Now I think I should just go in and buff up. My buffs are Necromutation twice. Oh, I said twice. Ring of Flames twice to increase power of my Firestorms. Then I channel mana with my Crystal Ball of Energy, which is actually I think it's a bit more reliable on high amounts of mana than the stuff of YukkuriChei, but YukkuriChei works on 0 mana, so it has its advantages. Also Aura of Abjuration and also Invisibility. Invisibility is for spider floors, I'm just playing around them preemptively. I think when you are invisible you cannot get your mana drained, or something like that. So let's just go in. As you can see, I'm instantly surrounded by spiders, but thankfully not only I am invisible, but I have Tornado. Yeah, let's just walk back a little bit, spam a couple of Firestorms as well. As you can see, nobody is draining my mana, so I'm pretty sure this invisibility thing is working out miraculously. Unfortunately though, I'm going to get contaminated pretty soon, and I don't need any of that loot. I mean, besides consumables. Speaking of loot, I'm pretty sure I will not need almost any of it, because my gear is almost perfect. I mean, there could be some improvements to it, but I don't think I should even bother. Like, I will pick up some loot, but it's going to be useless 99% of the time. So next floor. Next floor is a crypt floor. It's pretty easy too. I instinctively want to back up in that corner, but on the first few floors it's not really necessary. You know, right now you don't really see ziggurats in their full power, so you don't really know why I am paranoid. But pretty soon you're going to see me firestorming single enemies and do other ridiculous stuff, just because I want to play it safe. I don't know why I'm picking up Wands of Disintegration, honestly. So once again, no useful loot, but I should wait out my contamination. It's not like contamination is super deadly for this type of character, but it still costs me some, you know, HP. You know, it rots me a little bit, which I will fix with my Wand of Heal Wounds once I'm actually, you know, more rotten. Don't really want to waste a Heal Wounds on just 3 permanent HP. So yeah, Lich form is pretty much necessary for Mega-Ziggurats. Honestly, there is so much Torment, so much mutations, and you're probably gonna get contaminated, so I strongly recommend learning Lich form. You're gonna have a lot of experience anyway if you're clearing so many Ziggurats, so Lich form is advised. This floor is trivial. Like, I don't even need invisibility. I'm just going to storm a couple times and everyone is going to die. So yeah, while I'm at it, I think I'm going to talk about floors which actually do pose a problem for me. You have seen one kind of them, which is spider floors, but maybe they are not going to be a problem because I have invisibility. I don't really know. Also, check this out. I have a certain spell called Sigurtuvi's Embrace. It turns enemy corpses into your temporary shield and armor. So yeah, I have 53 AC, 40 shields, and now boom, I have 98, 85. Pretty ridiculous, but to be honest, I don't think it's doing me any good. Like, I know it sounds stupid, you know, having extra shield and evasion should not be considered a bad thing, but I'm pretty sure it is. Also, might as well pick up those Scrolls of Torment. I'm pretty sure I'm going to throw them away anyway, but might as well pick them up for now. Also, let's read some acquirements. I think I want armor. You know, it's gonna sound once again a bit ridiculous, but I think I don't need the boots I'm wearing right now, even though they are boots of running, which are considered best boots in the game. But the thing is, I'm not going to run anywhere anyway. You know, when the floor is full with baddies, I'm not even gonna check out this ruined large shield, by the way. Yeah, when a floor is full with baddies, the only way you move is like controlled blink anyway, so I don't really care if I have that extra speed boost. But let that not confuse you and make you think that boots of running are bad. No, they are amazing. If you find early boots of running, you know, on like D5 or something, you're probably going to win the game if you're doing it properly. And if you're not a Naga or a Field or a Centaur, you're going to win as a Centaur anyway. Centaurs are fast. So, almost forgot invisibility. Next floor. Nagas again. Easy operation. So yeah, I guess I might as well talk about other problematic floors. So spiders are probably going to be handled with invisibility. There are also chaos floors with a lot of Banlords and Apocalypse Scraps and potentially I think even Eldritch Tentacles, or they are just summoned by the Banlords, I don't really know. Those type of floors are a complete slaughterhouse because Banlords, they're pretty hard to kill, you know, they have a lot of HP, they have random spells. The ones I'm most worried about are Dispel Undead, because I'm obviously going to spend time in Lich form, and I don't really want to exit it, because Torment, you know, Torment is scary. So yeah, Silence, also, yeah, Silence is a spell, I haven't mentioned it before. Yeah, Silence is a pretty dangerous spell as well, because obviously I'm casting a lot of spells, and without spells I'm almost harmless. So yeah, but thankfully Silence, you know, Panlord Silence has only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 square radius, so you can usually blast them, you know, the Panlord silencing you from afar. So it's not that bad. And also Panlords can attack you with random brands. You know, their melee attack can have a random brand, which could be Distortion, but that's even not that bad. The worst one is Chaos, because it can paralyze you. Similarly, a Chaos Cloud, which is what Apocalypse Scraps are going to breathe at you. Yeah, those can paralyze you or petrify you as well, and it's a bit ridiculous. I don't think I want a Rod. I might want plate armor, but I don't really care. My armor is very good, actually. It even has that strength, which really helps me because I haven't leveled up much of my strength. Okay, I forgot about my invisibility because I'm a moron, but thankfully it doesn't really matter here. Like, Draconians are mostly pushovers as well. You know, you're gonna know when a floor is dangerous. I'm going to be very concerned, but right now it's probably like the fastest you're going to see me playing Crawl, because all I really need to do is cast Tornado and then spam Firestorms. It's even surprising that I took a little bit of damage, probably from like Hellfire. Hellfire is almost the only thing that can damage me here. Like, that's why, by the way, I said that Sigurdar's Embrace is almost useless, because I have so many, you know, so much defense that I don't really need extra defense. Almost nothing breaks through anyway. I'm only worried about Hellfire and like Silence and Chaos with Paralysis. Because Paralysis is actually one of the few ways to lose an Uber character in a Ziggurat. Like, when you're paralyzed, all of your defensive stats other than AC is pretty much moot, you know, useless. So you're suddenly going to take more damage. A lot more damage than you're expecting, and probably going to die. So yeah, don't let yourself get paralyzed. It's pretty much the same as in the main game. Paralysis is a very tricky mechanic in general. Some people wouldn't want it out of the game, period, because it's pretty much insta-death. Sometimes even if you play around it. Oh my gosh, it's actually an artifact. Ice Dragon Armor. I should probably... Oh my gosh. I should probably try it out at least. I should also drop this Scroll of Torment. I'm a complete pack rat, so you're gonna bear with me doing all of that item management. I mean inventory management. This armor is bad. I kinda wanted to stop picking loot. Period, because I really don't want to waste your time, but I think I'm gonna do it anyway because packrotism is not a strong side of me, a bad habit of me. Yeah, that's the word. So Aeon floors, I don't think I need invisibility once again. I don't really want to get too contaminated. That's why I'm gonna turn it off, because as you can see, once again, not much is going to cut through my defenses. Okay, other floors which are dangerous to me. I guess Gehenna floors are pretty scary too, because what I'm doing for the most part is spamming Firestorms. And, you know, Gehenna enemies, which are, you know, the most dangerous one I'm worried about are Brimstone Fiends and Hellions, which shoot Hellfire, which is unavoidable damage. I guess Balrogs can do some unavoidable damage too with their smites and fireballs, but they are not as scary because I have like triple fire resistance. So yeah, all of those enemies who shoot hellfire can actually damage me quite a bit, and that's how I might lose the game, but I've learned Glaciate for them, so it's not that bad. Yeah, mummy floors are surprisingly not dangerous. You know, they used to be kind of insane in the previous versions of Crawl, probably because they drained my stats too fast. I don't really remember why, by the way, but I totally remember a 27th floor of Ziggurat with mummies be an absolute nightmare, and I was even forced to use, how is it called? Bonjour's Revivification on one of those floors. Also, let me just use Sigurdar's Embrace and got almost no corpses because I waited for too long for my contamination to disappear. I also want to go invisible and enter the next floor, which is once again Draconians. What I'm not what I'm actually surprised by is that I'm not getting surrounded for some reason. I don't know why. I think in the previous Ziggurat I was surrounded pretty much all the time past floor 3. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, in general, I kind of just want to clear my enemies. Clear my screen from the enemies, and then I would just shoot anything that enters my LOS. Just to play it safe. It's not exactly necessary, but playing safe was never a bad thing, unless you're shooting for a good turn count. But I don't really care about my turn count. As you can see, it is far past 200,000. And I've played this character for a day and a half, which is ridiculous. You know, adds to the reasons why I don't want to lose it at all costs. I'm also on a 5 kill streak, by the way. Just putting it out there. It's not like my kill streak counts at all, because it is offline. So nobody really cares. You can accuse me in save scamming. I don't really care. I know I don't save scam, and I guess that's what matters the most. What is the reason to save scam in this game anyway, where there is whiz mode, right? So yeah, I've actually been winning quite a lot of games recently. Like, I think I'm winning every second game I play, but it also has something to do with which combos I pick. I don't really pick like Minotaurs, Berserkers or something too easy like that, but I don't play many mummies as well. My voice is already sounding horrible, I think, but I guess I'm going to continue until at least like floor 12. And then I'm gonna cut the video and continue in the next part, which is hopefully gonna be recorded pretty soon. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention another floor which scares me very much. I actually don't think I have an answer to it. I have an answer to spiders, I have an answer to fire type enemies, but not to that one. It is Tator's floor. You know, Tator's floors have not only upgraded shadow fiends called Tzitsimiddles, but also a lot of silent specters, which are, you know, basically specters with silence, and that silence has a very large radius, like way beyond my LOS, so I cannot actually shoot them down. And I've heard a rumor that on the last Mega-Ziggurat, those floors are actually so dangerous that they are fully covered in silence, and you cannot even cast a single spell there. I don't really know what to do on these floors. I have a couple of Rods of Ignition, I have a Wild Magic card, but maybe that's not even going to help. So, next floor. Okay, this one looks scary, but I think I'm gonna deal with it fine. So, let's talk about types of Hellfire, which is actually not called Hellfire, it is called Damnation. So there are 2 types of Damnation in this game, and I should still call it Hellfire because Hellfire sounds much cooler. So this one, which is one the Helions cast, it's called Call Down Damnation. It requires no direct line of fire, so basically it is smite targeted, which is why I have to, you know, focus Helions first. By the way, Helions cannot see invisible, so that's a pretty big deal, probably. I don't know. The other type of Hellfire is the one Hell Sentinels cast. It is called Hurl Damnation, and it indeed does require a line of sight. So basically, excuse me, if I block their line of sight with some allies, like for example these, how are they called? Fire vortices. Yeah, then they cannot hellfire me because of, you know, the LOS requirement. Also, I think it is about time I use my Fan of Gales. Fan of Gales is the real MVP in those ziggurats because it just throws away back like crazy. Helps you avoid those melee attacks of Panlords, by the way, too. You know, you kind of need to keep them away, not let them strike you with a chaos type attack. It's not like they always do chaos type attacks, no, it's actually quite uncommon, and a paralysis from a chaos attack is very uncommon too, but you know, after you kill so many Panlords and clear so many Ziggurat floors, you're basically kind of bound to, you know, to have that happen to you. Unless you play around it. But sometimes even if you do play around it, you're still gonna get paralyzed. And then you just pray to, you know, to Zom, to Zin, to Arceus, to Haruhi, to whatever god you do worship, that you don't die. And you just hope that your belief in that god is strong enough. Oh. Also, a big part of doing these Zig floors is remembering that all of your buffs are up. My Abjuration is down right now, but I don't think I need Abjuration. Let's cast another Tornado. Also, those Iron Giants are actually pretty scary for most characters, but thankfully my character is pretty broken, since it has all skills at 27, so basically I can just not let them enter my LOS, period. I mean, not LOS, my melee range. And when they are not in my melee range, they cannot actually use one of their most dangerous attacks called throwing. Like, you know, once not Hell Sentinel. Once one of those Iron Giants appears on my screen, I will show you, you know, their throwing attack. Basically what they do with that attack is they just throw you somewhere, and it is unavoidable damage. You know, you cannot block it, you cannot resist it. I think it's not affected by AC as well. So yeah, it is one of their two attacks, throw. It is a melee range attack, but it messes up your positioning and it deals considerable damage, as the description says. One moment, please. You know, talking continuously is actually quite tiring, as you could have noticed. I'm kind of happy that my throat is not giving up on me yet. I don't think I need my invisibility by now. And I also don't think I need my Abjuration, that's why I did not recast it. By the way, there is one thing I forgot to mention, is that my conjurations I'm casting, I mean, not conjurations, they are technically Tornado is not a conjuration, but I'm still counting it as one for obvious reasons. Vehement supports it too. So yeah, these spells of mine are actually max power, and it is true because of not only my Hat of the High Council, which I've actually found not in a Ziggurat, surprisingly. It was... where did it happen? Give me a moment. It actually happened on the level 4 of the vault, and I also had a Ring of the Mage unran dart, which I found before Lair, I believe. So those were the two unran darts, which actually made me go 15 runes and then clear Ziggurats and stuff, because I think they are pretty potent. It's not like you cannot win the game without them, but you know, you don't see those things every day. So, Scroll of Acquirement, let's just acquire more armor, because I want new boots. Obviously I don't really need a Crystal Plate armor, it really messes up my spellcasting because I don't have enough strength. But you know, you don't really see an unran dart, a random artifact CPA. So that's why I kind of have to try it out. More enchant armor scrolls. By the way, I should have thrown away my enchant armor scrolls at the beginning of that Ziggurat. I don't really know what I was thinking. So always acquire armor, right? Don't really care about those rune boots. Armor again, boots again, and -6 boots of truth. No. If there is one thing they should be called as, it is not truth. They should be called something like, oh, it's not even cursed. Thank goodness. Yeah, they should not be called boots of truth. They should be called boots of lies or like boots of misfortune or something, because they are really terrible. I do not recommend them one bit. So I guess let's do just a couple more floors. Let's not waste too much time and get done with this video. This is a mummy floor. That's what I have my sustainabilities for on a swappable item. And by the way, I forgot to go invisible once again because I am distracted. Hopefully this will not be the reason of my death. Not like missing invisibility right now, because I don't need it against mummies, but getting distracted. So you're going to see how surprisingly easy those mummy floors are. We just spam firestorms, which are actually not resisted by mummies. Like literally... Oh, did I miscast? I think I miscast. Every time I miscast, I just check my cast rate just to see if I actually like don't have proper equipment on me, because you know it kind of blows not to have your like +7 intelligence ring on and you know have your spells hindered by it. I don't care about freezing vapor. Let me just retreat into a favorable position and use my Fan of Gales too. So yeah, the enemies which are more dangerous to me I think are Banos actually. Banos are kind of designed to mess you up if you're a firestorming necromutating lich, because they have holy attacks, they are immune to fire, and they also get resurrected twice, and their damage is pretty good. Like obviously it's not very good against a character like mine, but when you're like, I don't know, maybe you're an undead character who tries to do Tomb as his third rule or something, that's where Bano can mess you up big time. But you know, on this floor I don't really care, because I'm an Uber character. Also notice how good Abjuration is against all of those summons and death curses. It kind of shuts, you know, shuts most of Mummy's activities down, along with Lich form. So there's not really much to say here, honestly. I'm just spamming firestorms. So I'm just gonna do it as quick as possible. While I'm at it, I guess I can talk a little bit about a certain game series, which most of you are probably familiar with. It's just Diablo. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have played Diablo before playing Crawl, or maybe you play some Diablo games now. And I cannot really talk for Diablo 3 because I've never played it. But I've played quite a bit of Diablo 1 and 2. And I guess I'm mostly gonna talk about D2. So hopefully you'll get that nostalgia feeling. The reason why I'm actually recalling those games at all is because these ziggurats actually remind me of Diablo big time. Because, you know, a big part of Diablo games is, or at least was, grinding. You know, you couldn't really do the hell difficulty on your first try. My haste ran out. Yeah, you couldn't really do hell difficulty on your first try unless you are like a necromancer summoner with a lot of skeletons to tank for you, or something like that. Basically a very specific build. You know, if you were not playing one of those specific builds, you would have had to like kill, I don't know, Nightmare Mephisto and then Nightmare Baal, and then like Hell Mephisto and then, well, I guess just Hell Mephisto. When you kill Hell Baal, you're done with the game already. So yeah, you have to kill a lot of bosses, maybe clear some locations a lot of times, and that is recalled too as grinding. But in this game, in Crawl, one of the design philosophies is that grinding basically equals scumming and should be prevented, like should not be encouraged, etc, etc. And that's one of the reasons I like Crawl, to be honest. That's one of the reasons I don't think I will ever return to Diablo games again, even though they are not even bad at all. You know, just once you play Crawl for a little while, and once you realize that grinding is not really the way, not really the only way hack and slash games could work. You know, once you realize that, you would probably not want to play Diablo again, but that's how I think it works. A lot of people prefer Diablo games to actual roguelikes. By the way, this is spider floor, and I am invisible, so let's just put my theory to a test. If I don't get my mana drained and my gear corroded, I should put on resist corrosion too. So yeah, if that doesn't happen, I think I should, conquer this floor quite, what's the word? Quite easily, I guess. That would be the word. So the enemies I'm scared of here are the ghost moths, because they just drain my mana. But I guess they only drain my mana if I'm not invisible, so I'm not scared of them right now. Also, oh my gosh, I think I should just step back, honestly. I kind of want to reduce the amount of enemies in my LOS, and since they don't see me, they actually don't enter my LOS all that hastily. So yeah, Ghost Moth, they drain my mana. Those corrosion things called entropy weavers, they corrode me. That's pretty dangerous. Like, the reason I had to escape from one of those spider floors on a previous ziggurat, and I had to escape the whole ziggurat altogether because, I couldn't really escape to a next floor, because on that floor I would have just got surrounded, and, if it was one of the dangerous floors I would have died, period. So I had to escape from a ziggurat. Yeah, the reason why I had to escape is because I got corroded for like 80. Like, I used my Sigurdu's Embrace, which is, by the way, something I should probably use right now for that sick value. Yeah, so I even used my Sigurdu's Embrace, got out of the negative AC territory, but then they corroded me back to negatives again. So, I have 27 in my melee skills. I could have tried crawling my way back into the game with, like, I don't know, a Staff of Fire, which deals surprisingly good damage, but obviously you cannot really do that when you're corroded like crazy. So, the third type of enemies I'm scared of here is those snails. How are they called? Torpor snails, because they slow you down once you're in their LOS, and they are awake or something, not distracted. I believe that's how it works. My invisibility is moot now. So yeah, they slow you down, so they negate your haste, and you kind of want to kill them pretty quickly. That's not always possible, of course, because your screen is kind of full of other more dangerous enemies. So, I think I'm going to do the looting for one last time, and then I'm going to cut the recording, because I think I've recorded enough. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about in the next video. That's how much I have recorded. This ring is pretty bad. Oh man. Do you know what I actually just saw on the screen? I saw a ring called Ring of Ubuntu, but in reality it's called Ring of Untruth. So joke's on me. My eyes are not functioning properly. So yeah, let's just put my buffs on again. And before going down, I will cut the recording. So I should thank you so much for watching. Maybe you're happy to know that I'm not dead, though I don't think anyone cares. And until next time, guys, take it easy, and hopefully I will meet you very, very soon.